Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Persia. I'm going to ask again, as I always do, I'm going to ask my cameraman, my son Nikolai, to let me know how many viewers are there. 3, fantastic. All of you, please do me a favor. Can you write your names into the chat box? Welcome you all. That's very special. I'd love to know who's on board.
Cynthia is watching.
Cynthia, hello Cynthia. Oh, I know you're fantastic. By the way, for those of you who don't know Cynthia, have a look at her platform. She's got a good food platform as well. Welcome on board, Cynthia. Thank you for coming. And who else is there? Whoever else is there, can you write your name down? I'd love to know who you are. Cynthia, if you're going to be the only one tonight, it'll be a private show. Oh no, Cynthia, we're in competition now. There are 4, 5, 3 of you. Okay. Any more names? 2. Okay, we're going up and down, which is always in the beginning. Those who decide to stay or those who are just viewing, I'll be viewing a little bit later. Okay, good. I'm glad we're on 4 at 5. With 5 we'll start, or with 4 in a minute. This is a lovely, lovely evening. This is going to be beautiful, beautiful, very easy recipe, but very, very flavorful, very tasty, and a lot of fun to put together. Okay, I think slowly we're going to start. I'm going to say hello to everyone. I know there are a certain number of you out there, however many you are. Welcome to Persia. We're not in Iran. We are in Brandenburg, where I live. But I lived for many years in Iran, or in the capital, Tehran, and I learned how to cook. I learned how to cook from many different people, predominantly, of course, from locals. And the locals were in our neighborhood, and from the store managers and everywhere else. However, tonight is a very special evening, and the reason being is that we're slowly here at home and in Germany, we prepare our sweets for Christmas way ahead of time. We either preserve it in cookie boxes, freeze it, or we place it into the refrigerator. The man for Christmas. During these challenging times, as far as the global health issue is concerned, well, we have a bit more time to actually pre-select what we really want to do, or what we really want to cook and bake or eat for Christmas. It's not going to be, oh well, traditionally this and this, and we'll buy that, or we'll make it, and this is how it's going to be. No, this has all changed. We no longer do whatever comes across our path. We're going to choose what tastes good and what we love. Perhaps this evening you're going to also love what we're going to be making. Okay, then let's get started. Ask my cameraman. Oh, there is a question. Hello.
To Linda. Linda Zal is also...
Oh, Linda. Hello. How are you? Thank you so much for coming on board. Absolutely awesome. Linda, I know you're going to like this very much. And if you have questions with regards to how vegan it is, or with which what we can actually substitute with some of the ingredients, just ask. I will try my best to give you the substitution so that you can have it as well, or anyone else who's gluten intolerant or vegan, vegetarian, or otherwise. Okay, now let's get started. Have you got your notebooks, your pen and papers ready? Okay. I'm going to ask the cameraman now to just give you just a short guide as to what we're going to be, which ingredients we're going to be using. We're going to, what we're doing tonight, that is called Persian marzipan fingers. And these marzipan fingers, they're so simple, so delicious, so oriental. In this case, actually it's Asian. Persia or Iran is in Asia. But they have a savoir, they have a knowing as to what tastes good, and the balance between sweet and non-sweet, cold and warm, and their flavors are just unbelievably wonderful. And in the past, meaning 100 years ago plus, the sugar was not used, honey was used, and they have also Awesome, awesome honey. Very intensive, not like in Yemen, but intensive, wonderful tasting. So, but tonight we're going to be using sugar. Require the following ingredients. We're going to need roses. These are rose buds. These rose buds are the ones that I always talk about. They're Moroccan. If you can get them, they're very difficult to get at this time. They're not importing them for the time being. I assume it has something to do with our global health issue. We have also pistachios. By the way, the pistachios that I have here, I bought shelled pistachios, them, and you can have them whole, or if you want to crack them or just press on them, then you get your half. It's much economical to buy it this way, and much healthier. Organic. These are not organic, and I mean extremely expensive. So I just bought the regular ones that are shelled without salt, and I just simply press on them as I did here before. If I can do this with this one, this is a smaller one, it will stay like this. But otherwise, the other one here, I just de-skinned it, and let's hope I can break this one here too. Okay, well, that one is broken in half, and the others are vertical. Okay, we're going to need raw sugar. For those of you who want to use the regular white sugar, don't forget the white sugar is bleached with Clorox. Really likes. I have here raw brown sugar. I have cinnamon, organic cinnamon. I also have the white powdered sugar, which you can, in fact, do your own powdered sugar from your raw sugar or any other sugar that you so wish. And I also have saffron, which you probably know, and if you don't know, you will have experience. Lovely spice, the most expensive spice going, by the way. You can pay a lot of money for high quality saffron. And here I'm going to show you an example of one strand. For those of you who are not familiar with it, look, have a look. I know you're going to laugh at me, but here is a thicker end and it has a long tail end. This is how saffron looks like. And you just make sure that when you buy saffron, you buy it from a very reliable source. I buy it through Amazon. You can buy it through Amazon or any other place that you rely on. I don't always rely on Amazon, but it's difficult to get Iranian or Persian. It's called Iranian saffron. You just really have to have your sources. I had them all in Abu Dhabi. Here in Germany, I still have to establish it. Okay, then I also have cardamom powder. You can make your own cardamom powder, which is preferable. You buy your own cardamom whole, and then you just pound them, crack them, and then you grind them in your coffee grinder if you wish, or with the mortar and pestle. I also have chocolate here, and I will tell you why. It's not part of the traditional recipe, but I will, as I mentioned on Facebook and Instagram, we are going to make Persian marzipan fingers, and with two dips. The dips, they do not belong part of the original recipe, but the fingers, absolutely yes. Okay, I'm going to sit for this recipe because we're in a very different room and the table is very low. Okay, my cameraman, I think, has a question for me.
Pamela Paolucci says hello.
Hello, Paola. Paola Lucci, hello, how are you? And welcome on board.
Gisela Salem.
Gisela, hallo, wie geht's dir? Welcome on board too. I'm glad you're on board. That's wonderful. Thank you for coming. Okay, for those of you who just came along, we're going to be actually going ahead with making the preparation for Christmas, which in fact you can either freeze or place it into your refrigerator. I will be freezing it. It's a whole lot better. We still have about almost 60 days to Christmas, but I prepare ahead of time. Okay, we're going to make our own marzipan. We're going to start with 1 3/4 almond meal. An almond meal means not almond flour. Almond flour is just too fine. The almond meal, I'm just going to ask for a little close-up here, is none other than ground almonds, which were in fact blanched and the skin was removed. So it's your choice. You either remove the skin or you don't, but you can just push them right through the grinder And make sure you stop after every 30 seconds, otherwise you'll have almond oil. Okay, so here we go. You make your own almond meal, or for those of you who are in the United Arab Emirates, you can actually buy your almond meal. It's not fresh. It's definitely not fresh, but you can make your own, or you buy your ready-made meal. Okay, 1 cup and 3/4. I'm following the American cup system, which is about 250 ml from the volume. So we have 1 cup and 3/4. Now I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom. And this is again my own cardamom. And I bought organic wild cardamom. They're so intensive. Beautiful, just wonderful, exquisite, delicious, delicious fragrance. And it's something that you don't want to miss. If you have the opportunity to obtain wild cardamom, get it. If you can't, don't worry about it. Okay, I'm going to mix it. Here we go. This is just to make sure that it's well distributed before I mix anything else into it. And we're going to also now add the sugar. Now, for those of you who are diabetic or have any other issue with regards to sugar, here are the following choices. I have here the raw brown sugar, which I'm going to add, and I have a 1/2 cup. The Iranians, they would use 1.5 cups for this. I don't. It's far too sweet. And a 1/2 cup might be just too much for you as well. Maybe not. It's actually just perfect, in my opinion. For those of you who don't want to use this type of sugar, which in fact is absorbed by the body, then you can use erythrit. Erythrit is Erythrit, and it's fermented in the United States, fermented corn, and in Europe, most often than not, it's fermented grapes, which is not absorbed by the body. It's healthy. I don't recommend it to consume it every single day, or if you do, then in very low proportions. And here we go. I'm going to mix it. So you can substitute, if you wish, with your erythrit sugar or your... with the erythrit sugar, I would use a little less. Just about, I would say just a little less than a 1/2 cup. Start with a 1/4 cup, taste it, and then you can also add, you can always add a little more. Okay, now we're going to use, just have this, yes. How are we going to be, this is your basic marzipan recipe, how it was done 100 years ago and past. What are we going to add as a liquid? As a liquid, we're going to add rose water. Now, rose water, if there are many substitutions, this recipe in Iran, or the Persian recipe, calls for rose water, and they use their Iranian rose water, which is made slightly different. This one here comes from Lebanon, and they use water and rose water, either natural or artificial. You don't always know. Still, its fragrance is just wonderful. And if you can get organic rose water, I have not found it yet, but if you can, get it. All right. Or you buy yourself rose essential oils and mix just 1/2 drop with a 1/4 cup of water, and you have your rose water. That's one way of doing it. Okay, so here I'm using 1 tablespoon. We're going to use 1 for now. And we'll just go tablespoon by tablespoon until we have the right mixture. And if you don't like, any of you, if you don't like rose water, you can use just plain water, filtered water, for example, or you can use rum. That's another option. Or you can use almond extract with water, or rum extract with water, or you have any other solution that you wish if you don't like rose water. Or you can use also orange blossom. Orange blossom is just wonderful. Although for this original traditional recipe, rose water is called for. Okay, we're going to add another tablespoon of rose water. I think we have another question.
Linda asks, can you substitute the rose water with orange blossom water?
Absolutely. Yes, Linda, you can. I would then try with 1 tablespoon first taste it. If it's too strong for you, the balance of your, it should be actually 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of rose water. Then do 1 tablespoon of orange blossom and the rest with water. Or if you absolutely enjoy the orange blossom, just go ahead, 1.5 tablespoons of orange blossom. Absolutely wonderful. And if you can get the orange blossom organic, that's even better. Very seldom, very difficult to find. We're slowly edging into the consistency that we're looking for. So if you press hard, you can get these. There we go. See, we have to still knead it. This is the consistency that we're looking for. Very, very, very traditional way of making marzipan. The meal is just slightly rough, which means this is not a smooth marzipan. However, it has a beautiful consistency, and especially if you're biting into it, you know you're biting into almond meal. So we're just going to still mix it. Okay, we're almost done. And you have to just visualize or pretend that you're going back in time about 100 years ago or even 200 years ago, and you have the privilege of being in Iran, and you have almonds and walnuts, and the walnut marzipan in Iran is just wonderful as well. They have fresh walnuts. For the years that we were living there, I made my marzipan from walnuts, from local walnuts. Exquisite, beyond anything that I have tasted so far outside of Iran. The flavor of the walnuts are similar to the ones that we know, and yet it's ever so delicate and elegant and less intensive than the walnuts coming from Grenoble, from France, the typical ones that you can buy internationally, or the ones that we can get here in Germany. Now, walnuts in California, I'm not familiar with. Maybe some of you are. Almost done now. Have a look. Now we have our dough, our marzipan dough. I'm going to do the following. I'm going to actually split this in half. And guess what we're going to be doing? 1/2 is plain. And the only liquid that we have here is just 1.5, actually 2 tablespoons of rose water. That's all for 1.5 cups of almond meal. We're going to be adding saffron, which is exquisite. Now, what did I do? I know it's a lot. I have here about a handful of marzipan, and I'm going to be using, don't be shocked, 1 teaspoon of saffron, which I have already ground with the mortar and pestle. And what I did, I diluted it with rose water. I know it's going to be intensive in flavor, but ever so exquisite. Now, what I'm going to do is little by little, teaspoon by teaspoon. I'm probably only going to add 1 teaspoon. I'll have a look at the color. It's intensive saffron color, which is typical for that particular type of saffron that I bought, the highest grade from Iran. And again, you have to just keep pressing it, and you will see the beautiful orange color coming to the surface. I think, Nikolai, we're going to show it here. There we go. Okay. Now you have to, I just wish I could transmit the fragrance, the combination of rose water, sugar, almonds, and saffron. It's what we would dream of when we listen to the stories of 1001 Night, which is Persian, by the way. It's so wonderful. And what did the Persians do before they shaped it into what we call finger? They used it to fill the dates as well, or simply roll them up into a little ball and serve it like this, and it's just beautiful. So I'm going to mix it just a little further. Now, if you want the color to be a little stronger than this is very traditional, very light, we can go 1 notch higher. How about that? So let's just try another teaspoon. Now we're really going ahead with this. It's going to be expensive marzipan. Okay, another teaspoon. All right. So there we go. I'm we're going to mix this. Now, for those of you who don't know, yes, I lived with my family in Iran. And we decided to have our second child. So we conceived our second child in Iran in our first year. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to give birth to my daughter in Germany. German Airlines, they said, no, 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 no. Alexandra, we already know of you. You've had a difficult pregnancy with your son in Yemen. We've heard the stories. Under no circumstances are we taking any risk. You're not flying with us or any other airline. So they made sure that I couldn't fly out of Iran. I decided it's not a problem. I'm going to give birth to my daughter in Iran. Well, now that was an interesting story. When I was in labor, I just have to mix a little more. I chose my doctor who had his own clinic downtown. It's called Pars Hospital. So for those of you who are going to be in Iran, or who were in Iran, or who are going to be in Iran, that particular hospital had a missile from Iraq in front of my window. So I gave birth to my daughter in front of the missile. And while I was giving birth, my doctor simply said, oh, Alexandra, we need money and funds from the German embassy in order to remove the missile. We are unable to actually remove it ourselves since we don't have the funds for it. And I thought, oh my God, why now? And I simply answered to him, look, you're going to have to get your own funds. I'm Canadian. I have nothing to do with the German embassy, and the Canadians are not paying for this. So he said, well, Alexandra, it's still ignited. Do you know that it could actually blow up any minute? Oh, don't worry about it. If I die, you die too. And we all die. Everyone laughed. I thought it was funny. In retrospect, I don't think it was funny at all. But now it is again. Okay. So that was my story, for one of the many stories while I was living in Iran. So we have now plain, and we have the one with saffron. Okay. Now, why are we shaping this into little fingers? These little fingers, in fact, we call them fingers, but in Iran, they call them dut, which are the shape of mulberries. They call them Persian marzipan mulberries, or dut, as they call them in Farsi. Now, in our garden, while I was living in Iran, we had lovely mulberry trees. We had the dark purple ones, we had the white ones, and when they're fresh, they're simply exquisite. If you don't know what mulberries are, just have a look at mulberries in your internet. And if you can get a hold of them, wonderful. You can probably get a hold of them off the dried mulberries. And for those of you in the United Arab Emirates, you can get the fresh ones. Okay, for those of you who are in Hungary, I think only the dry ones, if at all. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I took a little pinch, and have a look. I'm going to just roll it, shape it. There we go. It's about 1 inch. It's about 2 centimeters, and a little wider at the top, and a little thinner towards the end. That's how it's going to be. It's a little bit wider at the top, a little thinner at the end. It's more or less the shape of a tut or a mulberry. And what do we do? The Iranians, they love the things. They have large pistachio farms. They're known, as the United States is known for peanuts. The Iran or Persia is known for its pistachios. And we're going to stick one of these half pistachios, or whole, as you wish, into this particular marzipan finger or marzipan tut. And we're not finished. I'm going to, for the time being, place them here. We're going to make a few more. Just here, you can make them larger if you wish, but not too much, not much larger, for the simple reason is that you're going to be eating these. And if you're going to be eating these, you really can't have more than that particular amount in one go. Otherwise, it's just too much. Okay, we have a cylinder. And from this particular cylinder that I have here, you're going to simply press a little bit here. It's a little wider at the top. Here we go. And a little thinner towards the end. And you press. There we go. And we can put a whole pistachio if you want. So just for fun, is a whole pistachio. If you're really into pistachios, there's a whole one. And okay, let's go here. It's a little smaller. We'll just change the size a bit. There we go. And another one. And we're going to make just another one. And I'll show you how a larger one would look like, more for fun than anything else, if you're really into it. So this is a large one, and you can use this for decoration. This is just a lovely, lovely substitute to Christmas biscuits. If you're gluten intolerant and you don't want any flour, and weight is an issue as well, then you can certainly substitute the sugar. You have the almond, which is healthy. It's a protein, absolutely wonderful. And this is also, being pistachio is also healthy. And that's all there is to it. It's very, very simple. Okay, I'm going to press just ever so slightly here at the end. That's a little wider at the top. Again, towards the end, just going to press. There we go. Okay. And it's a little larger, as you can see. So let me put one of the whole pistachios towards the end. I'm just going to flatten the end and push one of these pistachios into the end here. And we have a large one. I would use this for decorative reasons and not to eat, unless you want to cut it in half. So let's put this as a decoration here. Okay, these need to be decorated. So how do you want to decorate them? There are different ways of decorating it. We can take the same sugar, or you can take your erythrit sugar, and you can just grind it. You have your powdered sugar, and there we go. We're just going to sprinkle a little bit. You can get a close-up, Nikolai, if you don't mind. Just sprinkle a little bit of the powdered sugar onto the marzipan. Very, very much the way here in Europe, marzipan is sold as well, either with powdered sugar or without powdered sugar. Here in Germany, we love to eat marzipan. It's absolutely everywhere, and it's for Christmas all the time. And here we go. We can decorate it this way. This is one way of doing it. And we'll decorate the next one. We can use if you love cinnamon, you can sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on it. Just a little. And let's put it here to the side. And this one we're going to leave plain. I'm just going to here push this to the side. Oh, here is my, okay, there we go. We don't want to mix this with the other. And we have the marzipan with saffron. Lovely, absolutely exquisite. If you're into this, awesome, awesome. Okay, you can roll them as well. Make sure they're small, just a little smaller. And we push it in. And again, a little wider at the top, a little thinner towards the end. And we're going to push a pistachio. And if we can find, here's a half a pistachio. And we just push the half pistachio in here. And we have the one with saffron. And how are we going to let our guests know that we're actually serving and honoring the guests with the most delicious ingredients? Again, this food or this dish has a lot to do with honoring yourself, respecting yourself, honoring your guests, welcoming your guests. It's a play. It's a give and take. You're going to spread ever so lightly some of the strands of saffron on it, just so that you can, so that the guests can tell, I'm having a saffron marzipan toot. Now here we go, and I'm going to make just a few more. Here we go. And when is this served? In other words, here in Europe, when do we eat marzipan during Christmas time? Guess what? We eat most of our sweets before the 24th. We celebrate Christmas on the 24th of Christmas. Since I married a German, we celebrate it on the 24th. I was raised in Canada. we celebrated on the 25th. So we celebrated on the 25th. And my father's side, or my father, he celebrated Russian Orthodox Christmas. So we celebrated on the 6th of January as well. So we have marzipan 3 times. We celebrate Christmas 3 times. It's a lot of fun. If you want to celebrate 3 times at Christmas, do it. Why not? If you love this, do it. Or you can also enjoy these outside of Christmas. If you want to start now and celebrate it with others or share it with others, why not? Again, I'm going to shape this into a toot or mulberry. Just a little wider at the top. There we go. A little thinner towards the end. And I'm going to push another pistachio towards the end. And I'm going to decorate it. Are you getting a toast up, Nikolai? I'm going to just decorate it with some strands, not too many, since they're very, very expensive and they're not there for the flavor. They're actually there more for decorative reasons. Here we have 2 of those. Let's make another plain one. We'll make a few more and I'll tell you why. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so I roll this. I'm going to push this in here at the top. Here's the top. There's a thinner towards the end. If they're drying up and you feel this is too dry, you can always add a bit more rose water or plain water. Okay, here we have another pistachio. And have fun with it. And here another one. And we'll do one more before we go on to the dips. I find marzipan without dip, oh no, I love my marzipan with a dip. Or, okay, so we have a thinner end, a thicker top. Here we push another pistachio. You don't need the skin. If you don't like the skin, you only want the green, you peel the skin off. Your choice. So here we go. And we're going to sprinkle it with white sugar, which is very common. It's very traditional, very, very beautiful. Just ever so lightly. Or you can actually have it completely, covered entirely. So here in between, just so that it'll give you the highlights. And we're going to cover the other one completely. How about that? Here, the bottom, the sides, lots and lots of sugar, if you wish. There we go. And this is another way of doing it. Here, we'll just have to put a little more, otherwise it'll be uneven. Oh, exciting. This is fun. Okay. And this one here is plain. We'll leave it as such. And we have now leftovers. The leftover, you can, in fact, I think we have a question.
Can you also use other nuts instead of only pistachios?
Yes, you can replace the pistachios with almond slivers. Or if you want, you can use any nut of your choice, whatever is good for you. But traditionally, it's also used the almond slivers. You simply get your almond and you can cut the almond yourself, or you buy them ready-made, ready cut rather. So with these leftovers, I'm not going to continue now because the show is too short for this, but the next time, when the show is over, I'm going to finish making some more and then I will freeze them and have them ready for Christmas. And by the way, what I should have said, I should have made one more. I'll tell you why. Haha, I forgot. Okay, this actually very quickly. There we go. We'll do one more, one plain or saffron as you wish. Again, a wider top, thinner towards the end. And here comes another pistachio. There. And here, this is what we forgot, is the rose. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. By the way, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove the pistachio. You asked a question. Look at this. You simply insert the rose. This is what I wanted to show you. There we go. You don't have to, you don't eat the rose. It's for decorative reasons, purposes. That's all. Beautiful, beautiful. And this is your platter. And now we're going to go over and prepare the dips. Okay, now these strands, I'm going to make sure that I put them back, otherwise they're lost. Okay, now we're going to actually be making a chocolate sauce. That's our dip. Haha. Yes, I think we have a question.
Linda is asking, can you use dried fruits as well?
Dried fruits, you mean to insert at the end of the marzipan?
Toot.
Yes, absolutely. You can add dried fruits. Absolutely, if that's what you like, why not? And if you wanted to use fresh fruit, little sticks into it, yes, but then only insert it just before you're serving it. Otherwise, the marzipan as such you can freeze or refrigerate, and last minute just before serving you insert the fruit or the dry fruit. The dry fruits you can actually freeze, that's not a problem. And I think what you're talking about is mishmish, right? The dried apricot, is that what you're talking about? Let me know. Okay, we're going to make the sauce. If you have any questions, keep asking. Look at this. I melted bitter chocolate. There's very little sugar in it, or you can use without any sugar. It's called 100% zero sugar, and you can insert your own sugar of your choice. And I like to add my erythrit, which is not absorbed by the body. So you can still have your chocolate without sugar. Isn't that awesome? Thank God it's a healthier sugar, not absorbed by the body. And you can mix it with, here I have 200 grams of chocolate that I melted over a bain-marie. You have water in the pot, you place it on top, make sure the water never touches the bottom, otherwise your chocolate will scorch. You place it on top, and the steam is not to enter your chocolate, otherwise your chocolate is ruined. And you steam it until it's melted. If you want to use the microwave, go ahead. I'm not an advocate of microwave for health reasons. But if you don't mind and you still use your microwave, go ahead. Otherwise, try to get used to getting away from the microwave oven. Okay, we have our chocolate sauce. Now what are we going to do? In order for the chocolate sauce to taste oriental as well, what are we going to do? Orange water. You'll see that the chocolate will harden a little bit. Not a problem.
No.
We're going to add, we have a question?
No, that is rose water. You said orange water.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, cameraman. Yes, this is not orange water. This is rose water. Okay, so I'm going to use, in this case here, for 200 milliliters of 200 grams of chocolate, 1 tablespoon will be sufficient. And I'm going to mix it, which I think you, Nicola, you can show here how it's actually, it's difficult to mix, which is totally normal. Here we go. Just make sure it's well mixed. And then what we're going to do is add a little bit of water, just a little bit of water. Now, I wish I had my heater here, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Okay. There we go. We just have to keep mixing it a little bit. It's going to be slightly harder than we had anticipated. And I'm also going to add coffee into my chocolate. Now, let's hope it doesn't come here. The coffee, I'm going to explain to you, this is Arabic coffee. This is espresso coffee, dark beans with cardamom. Here we go. I'm going to pour just ever so slightly 1 tablespoon into it. And let's see if I'm lucky. Now I got caught in my glove. Maybe I can still mix it. Okay, we're going to mix it with the spoon. Now, if I were in the kitchen, I could warm this up again, but let's see, maybe we can still make it. Okay, we just keep stirring. This is a lovely chocolate. It's a chocolate that you can use, or this particular dip, you can use here. Now we're softening it. You can use for ice creams. You can use for, again, here, for your marzipan. Here, now it's becoming soft. It's becoming malleable. There you are. This is exactly how we want it. And if you want it a little more liquidy or very liquid, then I would suggest that you put it back on the pot, allow it to heat up a little bit, and you have it liquid, if that's what you want. And I look for more of a pasty type of mixture. All right, there we go. Now, what we're going to do is, I have these sterling silver Oriental coffee cups, and you simply add your chocolate dip. Now, show your abundancy. Look at this. Lovely. With a small spoon. There we go. Isn't that exotic? This is one. And our next, what is our next dip going to be? Oh, what I made before the show, I made saffron ice cream. Now the saffron ice cream has to be slightly liquidy. Now I'm going to take the ice cream scoop, and this is my saffron ice cream softened. One. Maybe I should add another one. There we go. Two. So for those of you who have not seen my saffron ice cream show, either you find it under Bridges of Light, or I'm going to give another session on how to make ice cream. And again, the saffron ice cream is always a success. So this comes onto the platter as well. And this is how it actually works. And by the way, for those of you who don't want to use rose water, I forgot to mention you can use rum or any other liqueur or pousse café. It could be any other alcohol that you like, which is either sweet or non-sweet, instead of rose water, for those of you who prefer to have the alcohol. Now, if you don't want to use Arabic coffee, it's actually from Lebanon, and it's espresso mixed with cardamom. If you cannot get it in the area where you're living, you simply buy yourself standard espresso coffee, or you have it ground to espresso. And for, I think this is 200 grams. For grams of espresso, you add 1 tablespoon heaping of cardamom or ground cardamom, and then you have your authentic Arabic coffee. If you don't like that, no problem. You just make yourself an espresso, and that's what you pour into your chocolate. And you keep some of the coffee on the side. Why? Have a look. We're also going to serve. Now this platter here is ready for your guests. So what you could have is simply your dip number 1, number 2, and your coffee mug, plus all your marzipan fingers, and you're going to decorate it as well. So we're going to take some of the almonds and place them here, and why, I'll tell you in a minute. Now we're going to also use some of the roses. We certainly want to decorate with a few roses. There we go. Not too many, but enough. And what else can we, yes, here. We also have barberries. Barberries are also from Iran. I ordered these from Iran. The barberries are, as I said in the past, is similar to cranberries, but far more, they're finer. They're a little sweeter than a cranberry, a little less sour. And they are, if you say they're similar to goji berry, yes, but they have a little more liquid than the goji berry, in my opinion. And in Iran, they use the barberry for everything, for the rice, for desserts, for decoration, and we're going to decorate here as well. Just give the indication, here we go. We're going to decorate the ice cream a little with it. You can also add it on your chocolate if you wish. There, just a little more. There, and here towards the end of the platter. Now we're going to show how this works. So if you're going to be serving this to your guests, you're going to honor them. You're honoring them with saffron, with the best coffee on the market, offering them one of the best chocolate mixtures that you can possibly imagine. 1,000 or 1,000,000 times better than Nutella. Trust me, it is. And you have the awesome, awesome marzipan fingers or toot or mulberries. Now, this is how they're eaten. Although I'm not going to eat here because otherwise I cannot speak anymore, but I'm going to show you. You take the spoon, you take part of the chocolate, and you place it right on top of your marzipan. This is a lovely, just is so exquisite. And then you alternate. You alternate with your coffee. So you have just a short bite of your marzipan with your chocolate or with your ice cream. Oops, am I dripping the chocolate? And your coffee, and you drink your coffee. But you sip it very slowly, very, very slowly, and you enjoy it. So this is what we're going to have for Christmas. Instead of the cookies, not only, I will be showing you as we go along what we are going to have for Christmas. Not necessarily anything with wheat any longer. We're actually heading towards healthier mixtures. Still Christmas, and it still has all the Christmas ingredients that you would normally have, the way it was actually done and cooked and baked many, many years ago. I have one more fruit. I always forget here, but what is important is to serve the platter also with fruits. So I have figs. We're still in the season for figs, not Christmas time, but now. So I'm going to just add the fig here. For those who don't want to have the marzipan, they have the choice to dip the fig into the chocolate or into the ice cream. Delicious, absolutely delicious. And here we go. And we're going to put this on the side. And we'll use one more. Here we have the saffron marzipan. Ooh la la. And now we have the ice cream. Look at this. Isn't this lovely? Gorgeous. And then you alternate it with your coffee. Now, I'm not going to end yet. I'm just going to put this down. As you know, this particular station is a holistic station, spiritual station. And I also work, as far as the coaching is concerned, also on a spiritual level, or holistic, actually more holistic method. And when you're actually serving and you've put in all this effort into your food, or on, decorating the platter as well, and you're serving it on the table, for example, Christmas time with your family or with friends, play with your lighting. Don't have your neon lights or any other light, direct light. Have spotlight and diffused lighting, and just play with your lighting when you have your food on the table. It's a lot of fun. It will smooth out any rough edges in the kitchen or dining room or the room, wherever you are, and it will highlight what you have created. You didn't create anything just for the sake of creating it and just placing it on the table. We're no longer doing that. We're consciously choosing what we want to serve for others, what we want to serve for ourselves, and there's a reason for it. For health reasons, yes, absolutely. Sustainability, yes, but there's more, and that's the intuition and the creativity that you feel that is coming out of you when you create your own platters at home. You have fun doing it, and you're not doing it for the others only, you're doing it for yourself as well. And we have to reverse our thinking. We're doing it because it's coming out from us, for us, and automatically it's for the others as well. It's not only for others and not for us. That's actually no longer. That sort of teaching is actually finished. It's gone. It's gone with Corona. We have learned to choose our foods, to enjoy our foods, whatever it is, even if it's just one almond. We chose it because we love it, because we want it, or we chose our barberry, or we chose our walnut, or we chose our fig, whatever it is, we consciously chose it because our body wants it. And if you feel that you don't want to eat it, then listen to your body. Okay, listen to it and play with the lights. It's very, very important. Lighting has a lot to do with it. We're going to be playing more, and we're becoming more and more conscious of light. Whatever the reason, you can actually define it yourself, but we're changing, not ourselves because we already have done it, but many of us are looking for homes, for apartments, for rooms that have large windows with a lot of lighting, and there is a reason, there's a subconscious reason for it. Again, very spiritual, of course. So with these thoughts and with these ideas, I hope that you're going to have fun and share it. If you cannot share because of the second lockdown that we are probably going into now, I don't know about the other countries, most likely yes, take your laptop, as I always say, phone your friend, phone your family friend, make the same platter or the same mixture or the same recipe, display it and enjoy it virtually with your friends or your family members, and talk to each other. That is so important. Talk to each other and have fun. Okay, with this thought in mind, thank you so much for being on board, and I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you did. If you did, I'm going to definitely go more into the direction of Oriental dishes, Iranian, Yemen and Emirati dishes, and it goes on. I have more countries to cover. Thank you so much for everything. Take care.